Hello Austin, this is going to be your video on how to operate your lightsaber. This is how it's going to come in its nice box. There you go. I'll be giving you this Allen key, which you'll be using to do the blade retention screw, to loosen it and release it. I don't think you really need to that much because it's going to be a snug fit with your lightsaber blade, but if you ever need to, it's there. And I would recommend if you plan on swinging it around enough, you should use it. And I'll give you this because I have some extras. This is a magnetic ring. That's how you're gonna activate the force activation. I'm gonna give you this one. It's the biggest one I have. Just doesn't fit me perfectly. Yeah, if you need to get another one, just get a magnetic ring or a magician's ring, either on Amazon or one of the lightsaber places. Like, I think the Saber Armory has one, so you can do that if you want. It'll also come with a battery. Not this one, this one's beat up, but I'm currently charging the other ones, so I'll give you one of those, the brand new ones. Anyways, this is your lightsaber. You just take it out here. It's a pretty snug fit with the emitter, but there you are. I'm going to be giving you the blade plug too. Forgot to put it in for the video, but all you have to do with the blade plug is just put it in, use the blade retention screw to keep it in place. Doesn't need to be tight at all. This is your activation button. This is your auxiliary button. And how you access the inside is you just unscrew the bottom. These two parts unscrew. You can unscrew the sync knob here by itself if you want, right there. I don't think you ever really need to, so you can just leave that as it is, and then just unscrew from the black section, and then you just pull it off. And then this is your soundboard. Your SD card is in there. You can access it by pressing it in. Oops. There you go. Just press it in, pops up, and it'll click. And then if you want to access it, just click it in, it'll pop up. Use like some tweezers or something to pull it out, and then you can just slide it back in. That's what I like to do because I prefer not to pop this out of its holder, because eventually if you pop it out and put it in enough, it's going to loosen. So you won't have as much friction to hold it in place. If that does happen though, if you want to pop it out, put it in and it's loose, just get some tape or something, some electrical tape. Captain tape is the best one, K-A-P-T-O-N, very useful. So that's one option you can go with if it ever pops out, but it should be there. Bluetooth is in there, as you can see. You watched how it went together. This is the OLED display, the kill switch. And then this is going to be an important part. How you access the chassis, how you remove it and put it in and secure it. All you have to do is unscrew both buttons. There you go. Doesn't have to be much, just a little bit. And then it slides right out. Because it won't slide in and out if the buttons are screwed in all the way. And then to put it back in, you do the exact same thing. You line up the button channel here with the buttons here. You line it up like that, slide it in. You can wobble it around if you want. And then you just screw in the buttons. If it's ever too tight, then just shift the chassis a little bit until it's perfectly in the channel. And then there you go. That's what secures it in place. And that's what allows the chassis to keep it from spinning when you screw this in. Because if it spins, then you can't press the buttons in. So that's why I like to screw it in first with the chassis, and then you slide it on and screw it in. So that's how you manage the chassis. You'll also figure it out yourself, I'm sure. See, there, I didn't unscrew it enough. There you go. Boom, right out. So you've got your activation, auxiliary buttons, the NeoPixel connector at the top. So this is the battery compartment. The negative is towards the soundboard and the speaker. The positive is towards the emitter, the top of the lightsaber. So negative always goes here, positive always goes there. I don't think it'll be too bad if you switch it up. It'll be bad, of course, but it won't be as bad as if this were Profi, because CrystalFX comes with some reverse polarity protection, but there's only so much that can do, so just be careful. Negative, positive, go. And then just switch it up, turn it on. That's the boot screen. This is the screen I have it on just originally because it's the coolest looking, I think. It's got great animations, fills up the whole screen, looks nice. And if you want to cycle through the different images, just press the auxiliary button. There it is. Yep. And then these are the different animations it shows. This here is a midi-chlorian counter or scanner. Basically what this actually does is it shows you the level of magnetism around. I have this parameter set up in the config files and the blade styles and stuff. There you go. You can use the ring. The ring tends to have to be somewhere around here for the magnetic sensor to sense it. It doesn't really sense it much on the opposite side, so since it'll be in on sideways, you kind of go in from the side. You'll figure it out as you go. It's got a little bit of a trick to it to figure out the best angles. There you go. But as you could see, I have this animation when it's on. And then when you turn it off, it goes to here. It'll also go into sleep mode if you leave it for too long. You can adjust the sleep mode, whether or not it actually does go into sleep, and then how long it takes until it goes to sleep mode. And then there's a deep sleep mode. All of that you can find in the config file, in the SD card. And then to edit it all, you just go to crystalfocus.net and the Plector Labs website to read the manual. I'll send those resources in the link in the description. This is one of the screensavers. It's just Pac-Man and the ghosts. And then, there you go. I'll show you how it works inside the lightsaber. You just push it in, screw in the buttons. There we go. There you go. All secure. Boom. Activation. And you might feel it stick for the first press. So when you might have heard it too, where you press it, it's a bit sticky, and then it presses the thing. It fixes after the first button. Now it's like super smooth. I think it's just adjusting the chassis or something in there, but there's really no issue. And then this is the auxiliary button. Tap it for blaster effects. Hold it down for the lockup. I'll show that to you with the blade in later. And then it's at 75% volume right now. You can see it in the config file. It's to keep the speaker safe. It's also plenty loud at the moment, but if you want, you can also raise it to 100. That just puts the speaker a little bit more at risk, but you definitely can do it if you'd like. And then to cycle through the sound fonts, you just hold it down for a few seconds. And it'll always start from the first font, so that you know where you're starting from. You can also cycle through the fonts in a different way. I'll show you the first way, this way. So you hold it down for a few seconds, then you go to the sound font selection menu. This goes forward, and then this one goes backwards. So if you want to go backwards in your font directory, activation. If you want to go forwards, the auxiliary. And if you want to go forward, I think 5, you press both at the same time.
You're as clumsy as you are stupid.
And then you just hold down the activation.
Apology accepted.
And then you just, there you go. So to turn it on, you just tap it. There you go. And to turn it off, you hold it down for like 1.5 seconds or something. You can also cycle through the sound fonts in that second way I was talking about. You just hold down the activation and sort of give it a karate chop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, which is why I prefer the sound font selection menu. There you go. See, switch to a different sound font. Basically, how you activate it is... There you go. How you activate the sound font selection is you just hold down activation and then a clash. And I found that the best way for it to sense the clash is right here, which is right next to the soundboard.
Take your weapon.
There you go, see?
Strike me down with all of your hatred.
So that's pretty much how that works. I'll send you the link to the manual, but also the quick reference guide for the controls. There's a lot of controls that I forget all the time. I know you can play the music by pressing this twice or something. You press it twice when it's on, if it has music on it. So this one doesn't have a music track on it, but if you go to the very beginning.
Sound bank selection.
There you go. I think you can turn the track on by holding the activation. Yeah. And then you can turn it on and off when the blade is on by double tapping. There's a lot of controls to go through, so just make sure you read up on the references that I send you. Let's put this aside for now. And then the blade. If you have the sanded version, it goes in a lot easier. If it's not sanded, it might be snug fit or not fit, in which case just sand it down a little bit, just like around here. So all you have to do is put it in. You can just push it in, or if it's a bit more snug, just push down and twist clockwise. That way you don't unscrew the neck sections, because if you unscrew these, it might pinch the wires and mess up the connection. So just when you take it out, twist clockwise and pull, put it in, twist clockwise and push in. Shouldn't be overly difficult. And then let me show off the force activation real quick. I know I did earlier, but this is with the blade now. So I find that the best way for it to sense it, the best location, is roughly this section, which is right above where the sensor is. And I have it set up so it's pretty sensitive to it. There you go. And it works much better than what I originally set up for my personal lightsaber when I was experimenting with it all. It just is really, really nice. And I can't wait to put it in more of my sabers. So, yeah, you just force activation right around there. Yeah. So it's this general vicinity. You'll figure it out. You just mess with it a little bit and then you'll get the hang of it. And then you can't turn it off with this, but you just use the button. And then let me show you a little bit of the controls. This is just tap this for blaster bolts, and that is localized effect. Hold it down for the clash, and then it changes location on the blade with the angle. This also has angled sound effects, so depending on the pitch of the blade, determines what sound font is played. So if it's straight up, it plays a different sound than if you play sideways, and that's only if the sound fonts have those different files to them. You can always add them yourself by going onto the SD card, putting your own sound fonts on there that you buy or something. But I have 30 of them on here, which are all pretty cool. I also set up a bunch of different effects. Anyways, let me just show you the Bluetooth in just a second. So this is the CrystalFX app. That'll be the best way to do Bluetooth on CrystalFocus, which is your board here. And then you just click scan for CFX lightsabers and it'll pop up as FSC BT909. Connect it and it'll ask you for a password when you first do it. It won't after you put the password in. It'll never ask you again because it just recognizes the device. And the password is 6 zeros. So it's 0000000, and I'll put that in the description as well, just so you don't forget. And then this is all the different options you can do. Bluetooth on CrystalFocus is awesome because you've got the firmware that you can do wirelessly. If you just put the firmware update in the SD card, you click firmware update, and then you can just upload it from here, which is great. You can also access the online blade style library to upload it to your lightsaber and just pop it on instead of having to update it in your SD card. Just do it wirelessly online, which is awesome. You can also edit the configuration, etc. You can just check all this stuff out when you have the chance. This is the remote control, and then power on, power off, and then it has all of the different effects here, like clashes, swings, slashes. Like if it has a force effect sound, it'll have it, and then stab, etc. Lockups. yeah, and then you can check out the next fonts as well through here.
Green.
Yeah. So that's pretty straightforward. You can check out the Bluetooth app by downloading it and just searching through all of the different options. But this is definitely the best app. You can do the CrystalFX is the best for crystal focus, or you can go to ForceSync, which is a different Bluetooth app for lightsabers. Something else I should show you would be the blade color changing. So you can access the menu for that by pressing the activation and auxiliary at the same time.
Spectrum.
Go into spectrum mode, and then you turn it and cycle through all the different preset blade colors. There's also different methods of changing colors that you can set up in the config file. This is just the one I chose. There you go. So let's just go with red, I guess. And then if you hold down the activation button,
Blade profile.
it'll switch over to the blade profile selection, so you can go to the different blade styles that we have set up. Many different types. There you go. So we can just do, I guess, the standard flickery one. And then you just tap the auxiliary when you're done, and it selects it all. So yeah, with the spectrum mode, you can set up the colors and the different blade style on the same font, which is amazing. So I think that's just about everything that I need to tell you as for the basics, the things you should keep in mind to make sure it doesn't break. If it ever freezes or if anything weird happens, just open this up again, turn the power off, turn it back on, and it'll fix it all. That's why this is a little bit better than Profi, because with Profi, you kind of have to re-upload the config to set up or fix any glitches. With this, a lot of the times the fix is just turn the lightsaber off, turn it on. It's great. But yeah, I think this is pretty much about it. There you go, you just unscrew it. Got the detach sound. There you go. Unscrew the buttons. There you go. And there you have it. Let's cycle through. Oh, this here is a battery level indicator. So it's one of the screens on the OLED display. If you just tap through the auxiliary, it'll show you the battery amount. And I know there's a control in order to show the battery amount on your blade as well. Again, I'll be sending you all of these resources. Oh, this is the R2-D2 sleep screen. So when you go into like sleep mode, he starts sleeping, and if you move it, it wakes him up again. Yep. So that's pretty much everything you need to know. I'm going to be putting all of the resources in the description to go over the different controls, because I barely scratched the surface on the controls because I forget them all the time and don't use them that much. I just use the basic ones, but it'll have tons of different control options on there and all the things you can change to change the controls, and I'll send you the resources in order for you to edit your SD card and config and set this up however you want. So that is pretty much it. I hope you like it. It's literally one of the best lightsabers I can make with a standard install, no crystal chamber, etc. You've got the OLED, you've got force activation, crystal focus, Bluetooth, great speaker. It's a modular chassis design, so you can remove it and put it in. Technically, you can unscrew the next section here. You can unscrew this, which you don't really ever need to, but you can unscrew this part because there's no wires attached here. You just have the blade detection, or not the blade detection, the blade side connector. So you can technically unscrew that if you want. Don't unscrew the emitter from this section though, because that's where things are definitely wired up. You won't ever need to unscrew this section anyways, but it's good to know that that's an option for you. So I hope you like it. It's one of my favorite lightsabers I've worked on because I love the Obi-Wan lightsaber, and this is just beautiful how shiny and chrome it is. And then, yeah, I hope you like it. It'll be on its way soon. And let me know if you have any questions regarding it, because it's very complicated and I will help you as much as I possibly can. So enjoy. May the force be with you.